Yes, sir.
Thank you, my lord. I'm indebted.
Because you're still under oath.
Yes, my lord.
Now, we were busy with Amanda Yvonne Steenkamp's report at paragraph 1, 2, at paragraph 3.
Yes.
It says, and I read, the second witness was Kelly's sister, Zandile Khumalo. She told a similar version and gave a similar profile and facial description of suspect A. The only feature she adds was the eyebrows. She saw the eyebrows when suspect A lost his headgear during the scuffling with the deceased. She could not describe the second suspect. The third suspect I interviewed was Tumelo Madlala. It's spelled with a TH, Tumelo Madlala, who was much traumatized. He saw the scuffling between suspect A and the deceased. After hearing the gunshots, he ran off to one of the rooms. He gave a similar description of suspect A. I showed him Kelly and her sister's compilation, and he was satisfied with the ID kit. He could not compile the second suspect. The fourth witness was Mr. L.S. Twale. He gave me a similar description of what happened on the scene. He saw a scuffling between suspect A and the deceased. After hearing the shots, he ran out to look for help. He could not describe the second suspect. At page 5, the fifth witness was Mr. T. Makeleni, residing at Mozamo 3942, compiled the face of suspect B. He saw 3 unknown males in the vicinity of a gas station busy on their cell phones. He saw them again at Kelly's mom's house. Suspect B stood at the gate. He gave the following description: African male, age 25 years, 1.8 meter tall, slender build, medium brown complexion, clothing a black hooded top. Witness saw a golden insert in the upper teeth. The hairstyle is dreadlocks. Facial hair is mustache and a beard. The witness saw something in his hand that could have been a firearm. Witness could not describe the rest of the faces. A sixth witness called Sipiwe, or Spe, it's spelled S-I-P-H-W-E, could not compile any faces, but he mentioned that he saw an old green/blue sedan near the danger box. 2 unknown African males were sitting in the car and the other 2 were standing outside the car. After a few minutes, the car left and only 3 unknown males stayed behind and were busy on their phones. The witness later saw them running. In front was a person with dreadlocks running with a firearm in his hand. The other suspect jumps over the wall. Lieutenant Colonel Streicher and I left Fostoras detective to see Mrs. Khumalo at her house. I interviewed Mrs. Khumalo at the neighbor's house. She gave a similar description of suspect A. I showed her the compilation and she said she saw a likeness in the face. She could not describe the other suspects, and it is commissioned and sewn to by Amanda Steenkamp, commissioned by A.B. Haynes at Protea Glen at 10 on the 31st of October 2014.
Lana ke Mr. Ramsepile befunda istatement sakhe ke Amanda Steenkamp osebenza ke emaphoyiseni, uyasho ukuthi uba officer emaphoyiseni nokuthi ke usebenza ke ngokudweba ke noma ke uma echazeka ke nobuso local criminal record center eProtea Glen. Lana ke uma ke esemuva ukuthi eseshilo ukuthi neminyaka emingaki esebenza emaphoyiseni nokuthi umsebenzi awenzayo ukanjani, ubhala ke athi noma statement sakhe sithi wangomsombuluko nge-29 ka-October 2014 ngacelwa-ke noma-ke ngabizwa-ke ukuthi-ke ngiye eFosterus kubaseshi noma kumahhovisi abaseshi noma-ke ama-detectives ngiphelezelwa uyena-ke uLieutenant Colonel MJ Stracher kuyi-commander-ke yase-Protea Glen LCRC ukuthi-ke ngiyoba nenhlolokhono noma-ke ama-interview nofakazi kwicala u-676 ushilo-ke uMr. Msipile mayifunda wathi ucabanga ukuthi-ke kunephutha lapha u-676 kodwa uzoyifunda-ke injalo 676-10-2014 Phosphorus cala-ke lokubulala nokubamba inkunzi ngaba-ke nenhlolokhono noma-ke ama-interviews nofakazi-ke ahlukahlukeneke ngokwahlukile. Ufakazi wokuqala-ke kwaba uKelly Khumalo. uKelly wangitshela nje kafushane ukuthi-ke yena-ke nomufi babehamba-ke noma-ke bahamba-ke baye esitolo. Uma ngabe bebuya-ke uKelly nomufi yena bona-ke kanye nomndeni kanye futhi-ke nabangani babebhema-ke ngaphandle endlini. uMrs. Khumalo wabe esebabizela ngaphakathi-ke ukuthi bazovalelisa, bahlala phansi base bexoxa futhi-ke uKelly wayehlezi eduze-ke nasekhishini kathi-ke ebona abalisa ababili abamnyama bengena endlini. Owokuqala-ke noma-ke ususpect A wakubukeka yena-ke engathi uyena-ke futhi owafuna ama-cellphones kanye nemali. Lo msolwa-ke uyena owaza kuKelly wabese umufi-ke esejompa-ke eya kuyena-ke umsolwa u-A noma-ke ususpect A yila abalwisana khona-ke ususpect A kanye-ke naye umufi. Emuva kwalokho-ke uKelly wezwa isibhamu siqhuba kabili, wamchaza-ke ngale ndlela elandelayo ukuthi-ke umuntu wesilisa iminyaka yakhe-ke angaba kuma-20 futhi-ke iskin sakhe-ke noma-ke ubuso bakhe iskin wayengathi-ke si-dark brown, wayenama-dreadlocks-ke ekhanda engenazo ibaza futhi-ke engenazo ney'nwele ebusweni futhi-ke enegold ayenayo-ke kwizinyo langaphezulu. Khuluma isiZulu, wayegqoke ijacket eyayi-brown kanye futhi-ke eyayinekhola. Ngendlela wayebukeka ngayo-ke wayengabukeki eclean. Ususpect A-ke wangena-ke qala endlini, uyena owayephethe i-revolver endala emnyama ngombala. uKelly-ke akakwazanga-ke umchaza noma akazange akwazi umchaza-ke umsolwa wesibili. Emuva-ke kwalokho waneliseka-ke ileyo ID kit leyo futhi-ke wamdweba-ke enesigqoko futhi. Owesibili-ke ufakazi engakhulumisana naye kwakuwuZandile, udadewabo uKelly Khumalo, uZandile Khumalo. Naye-ke wangitshela-ke okufanayo nalokho-ke nalokho engangisengikutsheliwe mayelana-ke nobuso bakhe umsolwa lokuqala. La ahluka khona-ke wangeza-ke yena ukuthi-ke wayenamashiya ayenawo-ke wawabona-ke futhi uma ngabe kwakuwa isigqoko kathi-ke elwisana naye umufi. Naye-ke akazange akwazi-ke ukuthi amchazeke owesibili umsolwa. Owesithathu-ke umuntu engakhulumisana naye kwaba uyena uTumelo Madlala. Naye-ke owayengaphathekile kahle wabona kunokulisana phakathi kwakhe umsolwa u-A noma owokuqala kanye nomufi. Emuva kokuthi ezwe ukuqhuma kwesibhamu wabaleka-ke waye kwelinye lamagumbi endlini. Naye-ke wachaza-ke ngendlela efanayo-ke mayelana naye umsuspect u-A. Ngamtshengisa-ke lokho engakudwebile noma engakutshela uyena-ke uKelly kanye nodadewabo. Naye-ke wayenelisekile-ke ngayo leyo kit. Akazange futhi naye-ke wayengekho kwisimo noma engakwazi-ke kumchaza owesibili umsolwa. Owesine-ke engakhulumisana naye ufakazi kwaba u-LS Thwale. Naye-ke wangichazela-ke ngendlela efanayo noma washo ngendlela efanayo mayelana nalokho okwenzeka kwindawo yesigameko. Wabona-ke kunokulisana kwakukhona phakathi kwa-suspect A nomufi. Emuva kokuthi ezwe ukuqhuma kwesigwami wabe esebaleka-ke eyofuna usizo. Owesibili-ke naye-ke akazange akwazi-ke ukuthi amchaze. Owesihlanu-ke ufakazi kwakuwu-Mr. T Makeleni ohlala eNomzamo 3942 owachaza-ke ukusoka noma ukuthi waye kanjani-ke ususpect B. Uthi yena kumayesho wabona abantu abathathu angabazi abalisa abamnyama kwindawo-ke athi-ke yi-gas station bebhizi-ke kuma-cellphone abo. Wawabona-ke waphinde wababona-ke futhi emzini kamama kaKelly. Ususpect B uyena-ke wayemi egeyithini wachaza-ke ngale ndlela elandelayo ukuthi-ke umuntu wesilisa omnyama angaba neminyaka ewu-25, 1.80 amamitha ukuba mude, enomzimba-ke omncane emchaza ke nempahla owayegqokile i-black i-top eyayimnyama ine-hoodie futhi ke ufakazi lo wabona ukuthi wayenezinyo legolide la kumazinyo angaphezulu ama-deadlocks washo ke nange-mustache kanye futhi ke nentshebe futhi ke ufakazi wabona ke into esandleni sakhe ke okwakubukeka noma kwangathi ke isibhamu akazange ke aphinda kwazi ukumchaza ke owesithupha ke kwakuwusiphiwe noma usiphiwe yena ke akukho nje akushilo kodwa nje washo ukuthi ke wabona ke imoto engabandala egreen noma blue eyisedan eduze ke ku-danger box abalisa ababili ke wayengabazi babehlezi emotweni kanye nabanye ababili ababengaphandle emotweni emuva ke kwemizuzu nje embalwa ke imoto yase ihamba kwasala ke emuva ke abathathu abalisa angabazi futhi ke nabo bebhizi emafonini abo ufakazi ushilo ke ukuthi wababona ke bebaleka phambili ke kwakuwumuntu oyenama-dreadlocks ephethe isibhamu esandleni abanye abasolwa base bejompa ke ubonda mina ke ukhona uKenneth Fetcher kanye nami ke sase sihamba ke ephosphorus kuma detectives ayobona ke umama uKhumalo emzini wakhe saba nenhlolo khona nomama uKhumalo emzini kamakhelwane naye wachaza ke ngendlela ke efanayo mayelana naye umsolwa wokuqala noma ke ususpect A ngimtshengisa ke lokho esesidoba ke okushiwo abanye ofakazi na washo ke naye ukuthi kubona ke ukufana ebusweni abanye abasolwa abakwazanga ukuthi abachaze.
Thank you, Mr. Jonas. Now, Brigadier, the primary reason why I referred you to this statement, we were talking about the issue of the description of the firearm that some of the witnesses that were present in the house described to the police officers initially at the beginning of this investigation.
That is correct, my lord. And indeed, if one looks at the paragraph on A46, the interview with Miss Kelly Khumalo, she does say it's an old revolver.
Imbangela ke brigadier yokuthi ke ngifunde ke lokho ingoba ushilo ukuthi eqaleni ke ofakazi bakhulumele ke nge-revolver uma ufunda ke lana ke interview naye ke uMiss Khumalo ubhaliwe ke lana ukuthi washo ukuthi kwakuyi-revolver endala.
But furthermore, my lord, during the lunchtime, I had an opportunity to peruse some of the statement, not completely, but I can say A9 by Mr. Longotwala, specifically paragraph 6, says it was a revolver. A9 paragraph 6, Longotwala.
Kodwa ke benaso ke isikhathi ke uma sesiphumele ke isikhathi noma ke ilunch ukuthi ke na ke u-A9 ku paragraph 6 ukuthi ke ngibheke ke i-document kodwa ke angiyibhekanga zonke. A9 paragraph 6 yena ke uLongotwala uyasho ke lapho ukhuluma nge-revolver.
The same assertion, my lord, is also said by A10 Mr. Tumelo Madlala in paragraph 5, where he says it's a 38 special when he described the firearm that he saw.
A10 paragraph
5.
Lokho ke nabo kuyaphindwa futhi ke uyena ke uTumelo Madlala ku-A10 paragraph 5 yena ke ekhuluma nge-38 special.
But what is prudent, my lord, is that subsequent to this statement, there were further statements taken where some of these witnesses were then correcting what was contained, where they said they got no experience with firearms, they could not have said that and all that and all that. But this is what was said initially at the beginning.
Yilokho okwashiwo ke eqaleni kodwa ke kamuva ke zikhona ke idocument la khona ke labafakazi ke manje sebelungisa ke lokho abakusho bethi ke ulwazi lwebhamu abanazo ke manje ngeke kwenzeke ukuthi babekushilo ke lokho kuthiwa babekushilo ngaphambilini.
Yes, my lord.
And to be fair to you as well, Tumelo Madlala, when he was asked on this aspect, he says he could not have mentioned the word revolver or .38, but that the firearm that he observed was the one with a wheel. That's the rider or the proviso that he put when he testified in this court.
Well, my lord, I wasn't in court, but I've got no reason to doubt what Mr. Ramsikul is saying. But it will be difficult for me to comment on his evidence.
Kuzoba nzima ke mina ukuthi ke manje ngiphawuleke ubufakazi bakhe uTumelo Madlala uma uthi ke wathi yena ke wabona ke isibhamu esinesondo ngangekho enkantolo kodwa futhi kanginasizathu sokuthi ngingamkholelwa ke Mr. Ramsikul.
I will come back and converse with you at a much later stage, Exhibit J again, especially when it pertains to the identification of accused number 2, Mr. Ntanzi. Because from what I've read here, all of the people that were in the house, when they met Ms. Amanda Steenkamp for the compilation of this report, they all stated to her that they could not identify the second suspect. And you can confirm that from what I've read from Exhibit J. Is that correct?
Yes, I can confirm what is written in Exhibit J, but Exhibit J, my lord, is the notes made by Warrant Officer Steenkamp.
Yes.
So to make the right context, one needs also to look at the statements made by the people who were inside the house, because they do give a description. Even if it's not accurate, they do, to the best of their ability, describe the first suspect and the second suspect. But I agree insofar as Exhibit J, but that it's basically an extract of what
Yes.
Warrant Officer Steenkamp was doing, but there are statements of the people who were in the house insofar as the description of the suspects.
Uzovumelana-ke nami uma ngithi-ke kuloyo kubhalwe uyena-ke uSteenkamp lana ukuthi bonke kofakazi bayashoka ukuthi-ke abakwazi ukuthi bamchaze-ke noma bamshoke lo owesibili-ke umsola. Yebo, ngiyakuvuma-ke lokho, kodwa lokho kumayelana kuphela-ke nama-notes noma lokho okwabhalwa uyena-ke u-Warrant Officer Steenkamp, kodwa kunama-statements ofakazi-ke abamchazayo-ke noma-ke bengekho-ke accurate uma singasebenzisa lelo gama-ke noma-ke bengasho ngqo, kodwa-ke kunalaba bamchaza khona-ke lo owesibili umsola.
And just for clarification purposes, still on Exhibit J, the witnesses T. Makeleni and the ones P were, although it's incorrectly spelled, these were people that were not in the house at the Khumalo household on the 26th of October 2014. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
Laba ababili-ke uT. Makeleni kanye naye-ke uSiphiwe abantu-ke laba ababangekho-ke noma bangekho phakathi kuleyo muzi lo wabaFumalo ngalelo langa, yebo kuyiqiniso.
Let's come to this aspect where you say, or it's paragraph 3, investigations revealed that the cell phone which was robbed was picked up through cell phone towers until the signal was lost, covering the area of Fostora's hostel.
Yes, my lord.
At the time you deposed to this affidavit A225,
Yes.
were you also in possession of the cell phone records, both of the people that were in the house and some of the people that are suspects or now accused in this matter?
Yes, I had the cell phone record. That's correct, my lord. But I was also guided by the cell phone analyst at that time, because Colonel Stein was already on board and he had already disposed affidavits. And I do recall that I also made a site visit of where this Moleleki Tower is situated.
Okwakungihola-ke mina-ke mayelana-ke nama-cellphone lana-ke u-cellphone u-Colonel Stein wayesekhona-ke noma-ke eseyingxenye-ke lana-ke nokuthi futhi ngaya-ke ukuthi ngiyoyibhekela-ke mina noma ngiyoyibonela mina-ke mathupha ukuthi iMoleleki Tower leyo ikuphi nendawo. Loyo mbuzo-ke ulandela-ke noma leyo mpendulo ku-paragraph 3 la ishoyo-ke ukuthi-ke ubufakazi-ke base buveza-ke ukuthi-ke ama-cellphone noma-ke i-cellphone eyathathwa-ke yase ixoshwa-ke i-tower kanye futhi-ke nama-signal i-tower yase-Foster's hostel.
Okay, now you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, according to your information, Moleleki Tower services, you say a hostel in Fostoras. Which hostel are we referring to?
My lord, I was referring to Basuchino Hostel. And as I said again, my lord, these expertise were based on the knowledge or the expert information that was given to me by Kenneth Stein. But like I said, also the site visit for myself to see where exactly this tower. It is not far from the hostel, meaning now the scene where the alleged meeting took place before the killing of the deceased and after. It's just across the road, between Phosphorus and when you go towards Katlehong. So that's the explanation that it gave to me to say this tower can cover that hostel in terms of the distance. But it was not to say, my lord, on that specific day. The assertion that I'm making is not to say that on that specific day, this tower, when the signal was sent, it was active and covering that. But it was say the range. That's the explanation Kenneth Stein told me, that the distance could cover the hostel. That was my understanding.
Manje ke uma ubukhuluma ke ngemuleleki tower lena akushilo ukuthi ke ihlanganisa ke noma ke ifaka phakathi ke ihostel yiphi ke leyo hostel ukhuluma ngayo bengikhuluma ngayo ke iBasotho hostel khona ke lapho ila noma ke inkulumo yayithi khona ke umhlangano wawukhona ke ngaphambilini kokuthi ke umufi ashone nasemuva ke ukuthi umufi ashone ke kodwa ke ebengisho ke noma ke futhi ke nokuthi ke nokutshelwa uyena ke uKenneth Stein ekuyena ke owungoti kukona ke lokho kuhlangene nama cellphone nokuthi echaza ke futhi ukuthi ebekusho ukuthi nje leya tower leyana ke isingayifaka ke noma ke uma kuthiwa ke ikhavara ke indawo nayo ke iBasotho hostel nayo ingangena phansi kwayo leyo tower.
Brigadier, to be fair to you, and I requested time on Monday to go and revisit all of the evidence that has been covered thus far. And I don't want to put a wrong proposition to you. So this aspect of you saying Muleleki Tower covers the range of the Basotho hostel, I've got a different understanding, but I want to verify that from Ms. Vaitilingham's evidence before I put it as a proposition to you. So I'll also mark it as one of the aspects that I will park.
Yes, it is fine, my lord. But the context that I'm saying, and I want to repeat, my lord, is said the distance where the tower was and where the Basotho hostel, and that's my recollection of the explanation by Kenneth Stein, could cover that hostel in terms of the distance. What he did not say to me is that on that specific day, that tower was active. All he told me is that this is a tower that picked up the cell phone, Muleleki section, and I wanted to know where is this tower in relation to where the meeting took place. And obviously my next question is that could it cover this place in terms of distance? And the answer was yes.
Engikushoyo ke mina ke ngiyafuna ukusho lokho ukuthi ke lana bakhulunywa ke ngebanga noma angitshela kona uKenneth kwakuyibanga ke angakushilo ke ukuthi ke noma ke ngalelo langa lelo ke lesigameko ukuthi leya tower yayi-active ukuthi ke yayingacover ke noma ke ixoshe ke le indawo leya iBasotho. Mina ke engangifuna ukwazi kuyena ke ibanga nje phakathi ke kwetower leya kanye ke neBasotho hostel.
And then you also mentioned that the investigation which resulted in evidence under oath revealed that the victim was murdered as a contractual assassination or hit rather than a robbery or robbery gone wrong. Can you elaborate on that, and what statements and evidence did you rely on to come to make such an assertion?
Yes, my lord. I think one statement that comes from the top of my mind is the one of Kwabeni, Sifiso Zungu. It guided me to that effect because he places the 5 accused, and I think it talks to that issue of contractual killing. There are other statements, my lord, which may be involving not collectively but some of the accused, individually. For example, accused 3 and 4, where almost similar assertions are made. So there are different statements in the docket, and I can be specific, my lord, if that is needed. But one of them, like I said, it's Sifiso Zungu. No, Sifiso Zungu and Kwabeni is one and the same person.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Lana ke manje kunale lokufundeka noma ke obhaliwe ke lana ukuthi ke uphenyo ke lwavezana noma ke lwasho ke ufakazi ke ukuthi ke ngokuthi umufi ke wabulawa ke ngokuthi ke kwakuyinto ke eyayihlanganyelwe noma ke kwakuhleliwe ke ukubulawa kwakhe kungasikona ke ukuthi kwakuyobanjwa inkunzi nje ngokumpela. obanjwe inkunzi, sorry.
Okay,
Kodwa nje lokho akwahamba kahle. Ngabe ukuthatha noma yini ke ekhona ekholele ekuthini ke ufinyelele kuloko engisicabangayo ke istatement noma ngakhona ke ezinye kodwa engisicabangayo ke manje ileyo sike esikasifiso Zungu noma ke uGwabeni la ashoyo ke khona ukuthi ke noma ke ashoyo ukuthi abamanga abasola bobahlanu ke babehlangene ke yilaba bekhona bekhuluma ngalokho isona istatement engisikhumbulayo.
Okay, sorry Brigadier, just to come back to Exhibit J, just one point. I forgot to ask you, this, the fifth witness to Ms. Steenkamp's ID kit compilation, Mr. T. Makeleni, what
Yes.
is his status? Is he still alive or is he a deceased person?
No, he's a deceased person, my lord, currently. We also obtained, I think, his death certificate. He passed on, unfortunately, before this trial commenced.
Yena ke ubhaliwe ke khona lana Mr. T. Makeleni ngeshwa ke akasemka ukuthi ke washona nje ngaphambi kokuthi iqala.
And then further you say, evidence under oath revealed that 6 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution of the contractual murder of Senzo Meyiwa at the directive of Kelly Khumalo. Currently we have, before standing and sitting before this court, 5 accused persons, and in the statement it says 6 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution. Who is the 6th suspect?
It's Miss Kelly Khumalo, my lord. Remember this statement, I was applying for the warrant of arrest for Miss Kelly Khumalo, so she would have been the 6th suspect. This one, at that time, we already arranged. They had already made their first appearance, so this was November. So I was now moving towards Miss Kelly Khumalo to be added. So she was the 6th suspect.
Lana ke kubhaliwe ukuthi ke ufakazi ke obufungelwe ke uyatshengisa ke ukuthi ke abasolwa abayisithupha bona ke ababambe iqhaza ke ekuthini kuhlelwe kanye futhi ke bese kuyenziwa lokho ukuthi ke kulawe ke yena uSenzo Meyiwa kusho noma ngomlomo noma ngokusho kwakhe uKelly Khumalo phambi kwale nkantolo sinabasolwa abahlanu ke umuphi owesithupha ukhuluma ngaye uzokhuluma ukuthi le ncwadi ke noma le statement lesike ila bengenza khona ke isicelo sokuthi ke kuboshwe ke yena uMiss Kelly Khumalo laba aba5 abasolwa bese velileke noma bebingeleleke imanje ngaleso sikhathi leso isicelo sami ukuthi ke uMiss Kelly Khumalo abe owesithupha.
And on page, the next page or at the top, you say this suspect, Nonhlanhla Kelly Khumalo in brackets, is first linked by means of confessions that were made by both accused 1 and 2. Let me pause it here. On this aspect, further down in my cross-examination, I'm going to touch specifically on the confession statements, exhibits HH and JJ, allegedly made by accused number 2. So this point I'll pack it now and then move it forward. It says, investigations further revealed that she had 4 other cell phones that she did not disclose to the police when the incident took place, and then the numbers are the ones that I mentioned. Now, what was the relevance of saying she had these other 4 cell phones that she did not reveal? The significance thereof, for you to put it in this statement.
Indeed. No, so the relevance of it, my lord, one will recall that if one reads the exhibits, the confessions made by accused 1 and 2, somewhere in the confessions there is appearances where it is alleged that accused 3 was communicating with, sometimes they call her sisters and so forth. It's what is alleged there, my lord. And these sisters is being referred as Kelly Khumalo. Now, when one took the cell phone records, that the section 205 that were done on the 2 numbers that were known at the time, this is now the runaway phone that picked up the tower from the Lekki section, and the 082 number that was not taken. There is no communication there that you can find in an open thing except the downloads in the 082 number. But even that downloads, my lord, that links accused number 5 does not is not happening on the day of the incident. In other words, the other one happened on the 2nd of August, The other one is the 15th of October. That is now prior to the commission of this offense. The relevance of me mentioning this thing is that seeing that there were these numbers that were in a possession and active, it is a possibility that this assertion that there was this communication was lying in those numbers that were not known to the police at the time. By the time we came to know about them, the window period to get the communication of 3 years had lapsed, and we could not get a device to actually do the downloading. So that is the relevance of mentioning these numbers.
Uyaqhubeka ke usho ke uthi okunye futhi ke noma ke uphenyo luyaveza ke ukuthi ke wayenamanye ama number ke ama cell phone numbers awu4 ayenawo ke futhi ke lawo ama number ke akawashongo noma ke akazange awadalule emaphoyiseni ngesikhathi ke sesigameko lesi. Ingabe kubaluleke ngani ke ukuthi kwashove lama number ukuthi ke uchaza ukuthi wayenalama number sisima sibuka ke noma sibheka ke istatement noma ke ugonyuluka ke okwenziwa uyena umsolo wokuqala kanye nokwesibili ke bayasho ke lapho ukuthi ke kwakunokuxhumana okwakukhona ke phakathi kwakhe ke ngasinye isikhathi bambiza ngokuthi usisters, kodwa ke bekhuluma ngaye ke yena Khumalo umsola ke owesihlanu kanye futhi ke nokwesithathu futhi ke nalapho ke lokho ubizwa nje lama number ku-082 kanye nocingo lolu ekuthiwa yilona ke olwathathwa ngesikhathi ke lesigameko, kodwa ke akunalutho ke ekhuluma ngalama number lana kodwa kakaze awadalule noma awasho emaphoyiseni ke kwakukubheka ukuthi nalapho khona yini ukuxhumana okwakungatholakala kulama number engithi akawadalulanga emaphoyiseni.
But furthermore, my lord, what is important or prudent to mention is that this transpired during the collaboration process. As I said, statements are made, confessions needed to be collaborated. So this assertion that it is alleged that there was this communication between accused 3 and Ms. Khumalo was missing in terms of the date, because it's being said that it was happening on the day of the offense. So it was, it's something that one needed to know. But how could it be? Because we do have the cell phone records of Ms. Khumalo, the 2 cell phones, and that seems not to be there. And that is how now the cell phone expert, Kenneth Stein, was able to establish and link these 4 numbers, that these numbers belongs to her, they were active and they were not disclosed to the police at the time.
Okunye futhi okusamqoka ke ukuthi nanjengoba kukhona lenkulumo ukuthi kwakunokuxhumana kwakukhona ke phakathi kwakhe ke uMs Khumalo kanye naye ke umsolo wesithathu ke sinawo ke lama number noma ke lama cell phone amabili ke, kodwa ke lokhu akutholakali ke manje ke okusamqoka ngalokho ukuthi ke manje uKenneth Stein okuyena ke komcwaningi wabomakhala ekhukhwini usasho ukuthi ke manje ke akukhona ke nalama number lana usengabhekwa kuwona ke ukuthi uzotholakala yini ukuthi kwakunokuxhumana.
Now, Kenneth Stein deposed to Exhibit 01 and 02, which at the moment I don't have them in front of me. But amongst other things, he listed about 8 numbers, including landlines, that Khumalo used at the time, and as to each number, when she started using the number and when the period of using that number ended. The question then becomes, of these 4 numbers, did you determine if Khumalo was using 6 cell phones on the night in question? That is, these 4 numbers, the 082 number and the 2498 number. Was she using 6 cell numbers on the 26th of October 2014?
Yes, that's the understanding I got, my lord. So one will recall that what she disclosed to the police, it's the runaway phone, the phone that was never recovered, and the phone that was downloaded, where the linkage with the alleged phone of accused 5 was picked up. So that was disclosed, it's in the docket, the numbers are listed. These 4 that I'm referring to, it's what the analysts found, that they were active, but they were not made available to the police. Hence, there's no section 205s that were done at the time, and there was no downloadings done on those numbers.
Ingabe wakuthola yini ke ukuthi ke ngelanga ke noma ngobusuku ke lesigameko ukuthi ke uMs Khumalo ke wayenomakhalekhukhwini noma ke ama cell phones awu6 ayewasebenzisa ke yebo ke kuyiqiniso lokho ngakuthola ke nokuthi ke yena ke awakudalula noma awakushoke emaphoyiseni wakhuluma ke ngocingo lolu abathi ke ilona ke labantu kuzi noma ke lathathwa ngalelo langa lelo kanye futhi ke nomakhalekhukhwini lo okuwona ke okwadownloadwa ke kodwa la awu4 engikhuluma ngawo lana ke wona ke athola uyena ke owayicaninga ke ama cell phones yena ke uKennel Stein ingakho ke futhi nama section 205 angazange abe khona ke kula awu4.
And I'm saying this, my lord, also perhaps to put it in the right context, is that at the time when I made this application for the arrest of Ms. Kelly Khumalo, that was the information available to me from Khumalo Stein. But subsequent to that, it was an ongoing analysis that he was embarking on. So it is not surprising that, as Mr. Ramsipile, that in other statements, the numbers are more, because it was an ongoing investigation.
Engakusho ke futhi ukuthi ke kathi ke sengenza ke noma ngibhala ke kuyona ke manje fundwayo ke lana ngenza lesicelo sokuboshwa kwakhe ke uMs Kelly Khumalo ke iyona ke le mininingwane engangenayo ke ingakho ke mhlambe kungamangazi ke uma ngabe ke uMr Ramsipile ekusho ukuthi ke ayimaningi ke amanamba ngoba ke emuva kwalokho ke beku ucwaninga nje okuqhubekekayo ngakuhlangothi lwakhe uKennel Stein.
Particularly, my lord, I'm saying this investigation towards Ms. Kelly Khumalo, because one will remember I've indicated that before the 5 accused were processed and brought before court, there was a desire based on the information that we had to add Ms. Kelly Khumalo, but it was clear during our discussion with our colleagues that more investigation needed to be done. Now it then takes us to the statement of November that Mr. Ramsipile refers to. And then subsequent to that, obviously engaging with the NPA, there was also a desire that we need to collect more. Hence, you will see the numbers increasing and all other things that came up that we even didn't discuss and that we did not even cover in this court because it's not relevant at this stage, my lord.
Futhi ke nanjengoba ke ukuveza ke noma ke esho ke uMr Ramsipile ngalama number ke amaningi ke ukuthi ke uphenyo lona ke noma nokukhulumisana kwethu ke kanye nabo ke oza kwethu ke ukuthi ke uphenyo lona aqhubekeke ngoba ke manje ingakho ke sekuvela ke namanye amanamba ngoba ke uKennel Stein beloko nje njalo ke eqhubeka ke enza ucwaningo kakhulukazi ngaye ke uMs Kelly Khumalo ke ngoba ke manje bese ukukhuluma ke noma sisho ke beshushisike ukuthi manje kwaneleke esinako ukuthi ke sesingambopha ke manje kodwa ke aqhubeke kuphela.
When did the police, the investigative team, discover these 4 numbers?
It will be prior to me making that statement, my lord. I will have to go through the docket to establish, but they were discovered by Khumalo Stein, as I said. So it was after the confessions were made, because it is after the confessions were made where it was now becoming, or this assertion was made that Ms. Kelly Khumalo, it's alleged that he gave the instructions and there was a communication. So the desire to establish or to find that communication started there. And it would have been around that period where Khumalo Stein then discovered these numbers in trying to corroborate obviously what was contained in the statement, and that statement would have been made after that.
Ingabe ke lama number lana ke amaphoyisa awathola nini ke uma iphendula ke uthi ke kwangaphambilini kokuthi ke mina ke ngenze le statement lesike kusemuva ke ukuthi futhi ke kwenziwe lezi statement ke la abasola bagonyuluka khona ke ila khona ke uKennel Stein manje ke esethole lama number noma ke afinyelela ke wona lama number.
Because Brigadier, sorry, my understanding from the evidence of Khumalo Stein and to some extent your evidence is that your team did not go about and do new Section 205s for the people that were in the house. That Section 205 was obtained by the previous investigative team, and when you got on board, it's then that Khumalo Stein worked per your instructions on the Section 205s of the people that were in the house.
That is correct, my lord.
Ngoba ke ufakazile khona ke phambi kwenkantolo ukuthi ke ithimba lenu ke noma ke ithimba ke liholwa wena ke uma ke seliqala ke uphenyo kwecala aliyanga ke la yokwenza ke ama 205 noma ke ama section 205 kodwa ukuthi ke ithimba elalingaphambi kwenu ilona ke elenza ke ama 205s alabo ababephakathi endlini. Yebo lokho kuyiqiniso.
As I've said, my lord, the section 205s that were made for the people who were inside the house were made by Captain Bomsram.
Yes.
Bengishilo-ke ngaphambilini ukuthi-ke ama-205 enziwa-ke enzelwa-ke labo bephakathi endlini kwakuwu-Captain Bomsrand.
But the point that I'm trying to raise is the following. These numbers in terms of the section 205s, even if Kennelston discovered in 2020 that there were these numbers could have been available to the previous investigative team from the section 205s of 2014 that were requested by Colonel or Warrant Officer Bostra. I don't know his position.
No, not exactly, my lord.
Okay.
So the investigating officers at that time, they did section 205 based on the numbers that were given to them, that were contained in a statement. These 4 numbers were not disclosed to them, so they did not know they exist.
Akusilona-ke iqiniso ukuthi-ke lama-number lana-ke kwakuzoma ama-number-ke ithimba eliphenyayo elangena-ke phambi kwethu lalizoba nawo-ke wango-2014 ngoba-ke uma benza-ke lawo ma-205 ngaleso sikhathi leso-ke benza-ke ngokwama-number noma-ke ama-cellphone abawanikwa akusho ukuthi yibona abawathola kodwa bayenza-ke phezu kwalokho abakunikwa.
And now let's go to this one. In investigations further revealed that she is linked to the actual perpetrators of the murder by means of cell phone linkages. These linkages connect her to accused 3 and accused 5. What do you mean by cell phone linkages?
Well, my lord, I'm referring to, accused 5, for example, I think we've dealt with the 2 calls. Accused 3, we dealt with the bag, the see-through bag, which appears on accused 3's phone, and that's a link, and Miss Kelly Khumalo. But as I said, my lord, and to be fair, unless then Advocate Minister does not mind, then I will go into it, because there are certain things that we found that links Miss Kelly Khumalo, but for the purpose of this court, we didn't bring it up because it's not relevant.
Yes.
So that is the link that I'm talking about. So if I'm asked to go deep, but unfortunately it will have a bearing on Advocate Minister's...
Now, I don't want us to go to... I'm just reading the statement as is, and I was asking, by cell phone link, what do you mean? Is it media that is contained in the phone? Is it calls? Is it text? But I've got my answer. I don't want you to go to another advocate's evidence.
I don't understand. Wait. I don't understand. You're asking a question. You're obliged to answer the question pertaining to your investigation.
Yes, ma'am.
As you conducted it, so that the court can appreciate too. You can't tell me that you disclose this piece of evidence, but you won't disclose this piece of evidence. What should I do about the rest of your evidence then?
Understood, my lord.
Lana-ke ubhaliwe ukuthi-ke uphenyo lwaseluveza-ke ukuthi-ke uyamaniswa-ke noma-ke uhlanganiswa-ke kanye futhi-ke nalabo-ke ekuyibona-ke abenza-ke ukubulala lokhu ngokuhlanganiswa ama-cellphone futhi-ke lokho kumhlanganisa-ke nomsolo wesithathu kanye nowesihlanu. Usho ukuthini-ke la bese ngikhulumile-ke ngomsolo wesihlanu mayelana-ke nalama-cellphone nama-calls amabili. Ngikhulumile futhi nangomsolo wesithathu-ke mayelana-ke nalesiya sikhwama esasinemali-ke kodwa-ke angifuneki ukuthi ngingangena-ke kuwona-ke umsolo wesithathu, kodwa-ke inkantolo inenkinga-ke nalokho ukuthi angeke unginikeze-ke ubufakazi obuthize ubusuthi-ke obuthize-ke anginikeze ukuthi angenzeni-ke ngobufakazi lobu ongamnikezi bona.
My lord, so the other aspect that I didn't touch on is that there is the report that I got, and is contained in one of Colonel Stein's statements. There is a link between, let me say, communication between Miss Kelly Khumalo and accused 3. In a nutshell, I just don't know how Colonel Stein phrased it, but he established a link between accused 3 and Kelly Khumalo, other than accused 5.
Ngaphandle kwakhe-ke umsolo wesihlanu-ke khona-ke angazi nje ukuthi-ke into wakuthola kanjani-ke lokho yena-ke uKenneth Stein, kodwa-ke ukushilo-ke ukuthi-ke khona-ke uXhumana akuthola-ke phakathi kwakhe umsolo wesithathu kanye naye uMiss Kelly Khumalo.
Now let's go to...
As it please the court, madam.
Yeah.
This is not an objection, it's just a clarification. So the information that I need to understand and follow it. So what Brigadier Gininda is saying, that the further information that is not disclosed to the court as per the court's concern, it's that the statement of Stein actually says that there was a link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. That's the information that it did not disclose to court, according to him. I just want to follow that statement.
Are you able to explain, sir?
Yes, my lord. What I can explain is that the statement that I saw, and if it needs be, we can get to it and I can read it verbatim. There is the statement of Kenneth Stein links accused 3 with Ms. Kelly Khumalo. That's the essence of it. As to how we put his terms, that's the part that I don't want to misquote him. But what is clear is that there's a link with Ms. Kelly Khumalo and accused 3.
Engakusho-ke kune-statement mhlawumbe singasibheka-ke leso statement-ke ngoba-ke angifuni ukuthi ngisho-ke into angayishilo kodwa nje ngamafishane nje ukuthi-ke yasho-ke ukuthi khona-ke okuhlanganisa noma-ke umsolo wesithathu kanye no-Ms. Kelly Khumalo.
Yeah, but what is of concern to this court is, was that statement discovered?
Yes, my lord. It's the statement
to the defense also.
Yes, it's a statement that was attached in the docket.
Wait. Let's understand each other. Take it slow. Because if you haven't discovered that information, you can't use it now. But the law allows you, if you have discovered all the information you are testifying about,
Yes, my lord.
and you are able to say it was discovered, this is the information. But if you are not able to say that, I can't take that information. Are you with me?
I'm with you, my lord. What I know, my lord, the state statement was signed, attached in the docket, and it was disclosed. Whatever that is in the docket, in the A section, was disclosed to the defense. So it's not something that we kept away. It's in the docket, and it was disclosed, my lord.
Le statement enkhuluma ngaso akusiyona-ke into esayigcina-ke thina-ke sasayidlwa-ke futhi-ke siyingxenye yedokodo kusho abameli-ke basinikwa noma basithola.
Now, Brigadier, let's go to the specific linkage that you talked about even in your evidence in chief, which is the transparent plastic with money in it, which you said from the downloads of accused number 3, the downloads of Longwetwala, and the downloads of Kelly Khumalo. That photo is a common denominator. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
Kuyiqiniso ukuthi-ke lesi sikhwama-ke noma-ke lewa plastiki-ke obonayo-ke ngaphakathi kuwona-ke onemali utholakala kuyena-ke umsolo wesithathu uLongwetwala kanye futhi naye-ke uMs Kelly Khumalo.
As a lead investigator in this case, did you present and confront Kelly Khumalo about that photo and seek an explanation from her?
No, I did not, my lord. Remember the court, I've said, my lord, she was a person that we were intending to charge together with this accused. So the time when I would have approached her and obviously put these assertions would have been when I went to take a warning statement and process accordingly. There was enough, in my view, based on what we had, to apply for the warrant of arrest. And obviously, as the process, that's a normal process. Before a person appears, we'd have sat down with that person, interview that person, and these assertions would have been put, my lord. So at that stage, I didn't, but it was evidence that was important for me to mention in pursuance of the J50, in other words, the authorization from the NPA to be granted.
Ingabe manje-ke lo plastiki-ke ongemali-ke wahamba yini wayakuyena-ke uMs Kelly Khumalo wayombuza-ke nawo? Cha, angizange kwenzeke lokho. Uzokhumbula-ke ukuthi-ke manje bekuwumuntu ebengenza-ke isicelo lesi-ke sokuthi-ke naye-ke aboshwe futhi-ke abe sebayingxenye-ke yabo abasolwa laba abaphambi kwenkantolo. Lokho-ke bekuzothi uma ngabe-ke inqubo-ke noma-ke iprocess isiqhubeka-ke ukuthi uhlale naye phansi-ke ubese uyambuza-ke noma uyakhuluma naye mayelana nalokho.
But furthermore, my lord, one will also recall that I've indicated that it was a prosecutorial driven investigation. So we're discussing, with the state advocate to say, can we approach the timing? So those things, you don't do it in isolation. So there was no blessing to say, go ahead and interview her on these aspects.
Uzokhumbula ngishilo-ke ngaphambilini ukuthi-ke kona-ke lokho esasikwenza sasibuya-ke sizohlala phansi-ke nabashushisi-ke kuze-ke ukuthi singakwenza yini-ke lokho. Ngahamba-ke manje ngiyohlala phansi ngikhulume naye-ke bengasiyona besingekanikezwa-ke lolo zwiki ukuthi-ke sesingakwenza lokho.
Did you determine from either cell phone records or from the experts within this field that were assisting the police, the investigation, the source of this photograph with depicting bag of money, a transparent bag of money?
No, my lord. No. I don't want to misquote them, my lord, but no, I don't recall that, my lord.
Ingabe uyile yini ke noma yilaba ke abacwaningi amakhalekhukhwini noma ke nje uyobuza ke ukuthi ke lesikhwama ke sasinemali ukuthi sasibuya kuphi? Cha, angizange kwenze lokho.
And the link of that photograph, did you determine who shared with whom amongst the three? Did they share amongst the three, or the source of origin from the individual phone, Longwe Twala, accused number 3, Kelly Khumalo, as to the source of that photo?
My lord, I think in the statement is contained. So that is a terrain which is an expect evidence, and I don't want. But I think the Colonel Stein explains where it was shared or taken by. So I didn't focus. I'm not an expert, my lord. So I don't want. And I didn't even cover it on my statement because I think that's the area that I don't have the expertise, except to say I was convinced that these photos appear because I was shown the downloads, but all those technicalities, I don't have the expertise, my lord. But except to say I know it was there in those 3 downloads.
Mina ukuthi nje ngatshengiswa nokuthi ngabona ukuthi ke leso sikhwama lesi sinemali sasikhona ke mangiboniswa njengiswa ke kubona ama downloads kodwa ke angisiyena ke ungodi kodwa ngicabanga ukuthi ke yena ke uKenneth Stein ukushilo ke ukuthi ke kwenzeka kanjani ke noma ke zatholakala kanjani ke ukuthi sibe khona bona bobathathu labo makhalekhukhwini.
Yeah, sorry, but for my own understanding, these are photos of 3 individual different persons.
Correct, my lord.
They don't stay together in the same house.
Absolutely correct.
Are they friends?
No, I didn't find
Are they
evidence that
acquaintances?
I didn't find such
Is
evidence.
there a relationship between the 3 of them? Like, for instance, Zandile told us his boyfriend, sorry to use that language, is Longwe, for
Yes.
instance. Are you with me?
I'm with you, my lord. In my investigation, I didn't find such a relationship, and that is why in the very same statement Ramsipile is referring me to, I do indicate somewhere that for me it was concerning as to why Ms. Kelly Khumalo in particular will be talking to the hitmen or the people alleged to have killed her boyfriend, because I could not establish any relationship that will justify the communication.
Mina ke kuphenyo lwami ke akukho la engithole khona ke ukuthi ke kwakhona kubudlelwane ngoba ke ujaji useyabuza ke manje ukuthi ke lana kutholakala izithombe kubantu abathathu abahlukile, ingaba labantu abahlala emuzini owodwa khona yini ke ubudlelwane abanabo. Kuphenyo lwami ke akukho engikutholileke okukanjalo kuze kwakhulunywa ngaye ke futhi uzandile ukuthi ke yena kushilo ukuthi ke wayethandana naye uLongwe Twala. Ingapho ke nakustatement lesebesifundiwe ke yena ke uMr Ramusipile ke eshilo ke noma ke lana ekhulume futhi. Sorry, you were referring to which part?
No, I didn't refer to a part. I just said I raised my concern as to why Ms. Kelly Khumalo will be talking to
Sure.
the hitmen.
Yila ingapho ke la bekishilo ke kena ku Mr Ramusipile ukuthi ke lokho kusekwangihlupa ukuthi kungani ke manje uMs Kelly Khumalo ezokuthi ke manje kube nokuxhumana anabo azoba nabo kanye ke nabantu ekuyibona ke abasola ngokubulala lo ayethandana naye.
Yes.
Did you confront Longwe Twala about this photo, show it to him, and seek an explanation from him regarding the presence of this photo in his phone,
No,
in his phone's memory?
No, sorry to speak over you, Mr.
It's
Ramsey.
fine.
No, I did not. Same reasons, my lord, that concern me, because you find there are people who are alleged to be the perpetrators of this offense, and in their device you find a common denominator, which is now found in Longwe Twala. Now, it changes the view, you know, and one needed to be tread carefully and be guided by prosecution as to when do we approach him. So we didn't approach him, but it was based on serious concerns that we had about this common denominator that is found in accused 3 phones, and mysteriously then it appears in the phones of Mr. Longwe Twala and Kelly Khumalo.
Ingaba yena ke Mr Longwe Twala waya yini yena ke uyombuza ke mayelana nalesi sithombe lesi cha angizange kwenzeke lokho kodwa ke kwaba into nje evelayo ke futhi ke ehluphayo ke ukuthi lesi sithombe sikhona-ke kumakhalekhukhwini wakhe umsolo wesithathu siyatholakala-ke kuyena-ke Mr. Longwethwala kanye naye-ke uMiss Khumalo, kodwa-ke nalapho-ke sasiholwa-ke ibona-ke abeshushisi ukuthi singaya yini kuyena noma singayokhuluma yini naye.
So in essence, my lord, one of the reasons that made us not to approach him, it was serious concerns which may be similar to the ones that were motivating the non-approach to Miss Khumalo with regard to Mr. Longwethwala.
Engakusho-ke ukuthi-ke izathu kwakuyizona-ke lezo-ke ezatholakala noma kwenzeka-ke ukuthi singayi-ke kuyena Khumalo uma sikhuluma ngaye-ke uLongwethwala.
And accused number 3 is arrested on this matter. Measurements are taken from him. Scars are checked to determine whether he had scars from this. Did you also confront him about this picture of a plastic bag with money and seek an explanation from him regarding that?
I know, my lord, I confronted him with the allegation containing to this matter in totality, and he responded. But the response was not...
No, so sorry, Brigadier, to cut you. I'm speaking specifically about the plastic bag with money, not the totality of the evidence. That's way out of the specific confine of my question.
Yes, but that's what I'm trying to answer, my lord. So the bag of money is in relation to this matter. It's not a standalone matter. So when you interview a person, it's a collective. You put the allegation. So in the warning statement that I took from him was a warning statement regarding this allegation, and there were obvious responses that he gave me, but we didn't deal with the warning statements during the trial, within trial. I'm not sure now whether I should go to what is...
No, I didn't ask you about that.
Oh, okay.
Manje lana-ke uyaboshwa-ke umsolo wesithathu uyakalwa-ke kuyabhekwa-ke ukuthi ulimele yini, yena-ke wambuza yini mayelana nalesikhwama-ke esasinemali. Mangikhuluma naye-ke ngikhulume naye mayelana-ke nobufakazi-ke bupheleleke futhi-ke unempendulo-ke awayinikeza-ke kanye futhi-ke nakusona-ke istatement lesi esibiza ngokuthi phecelezi-ke i-warning statement.
My lord, I see it's just past 3 o'clock. It's a Friday. Can we then resume on Wednesday when Mr. Gininda is back?
Yes, Mr. Baloyi, what's your view?
That is in order, my lord.
So you say, Brigadier, you're available when now, after today?
So it will be Wednesday up to Friday next week.
Monday, Tuesday, you're not available?
I'm not available, my lord. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm available. The following week, I'm only available on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm out, and then it will be then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Yes.
All right. What can we do? So the matter is postponed to which date, Mr. Baloyi?
Next week, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I think will be the 13th, my lord.
Yeah, so it will be the 30th.
13th, 1-3.
13th and the 14th.
Yes, we'll be sitting from the 13th until the 15th.
Until the 15th?
Yes, but the matter for now is postponed until the should be postponed until the 13th. my lord.
Okay. All right, we shall postpone the matter to then. Brigadier Gininda, you're a senior police officer.
Yes.
You know the magistrates in the regional and the district court, they like saying, you mustn't talk to anybody about this case.
Yes, my lord. I'm aware, my lord. Yes, noted.
I know Mr. Mnisi used to do that when he was
Yes.
prosecutor.
Yes.
You don't discuss this matter with anybody
Yes, my lord.
until you come to court.
Noted, my lord.
Okay.